Welcome to episode 35 of Beer with Strangers. I'm your host, Tony Russo, and I have with me my co-host, as I do almost every week now, 2 whole weeks in a row.
Yes. Good afternoon, Tony.
Doug,
Give the weather report.
Please.
It's a sunny day. The clouds have gone away, and sun is out today. So
it's a good day to give the weather report because it's a good day to have the weather, and we're going to have a good week and a good weekend. We're going to skip right to the end of our list and talk about the thing that's most interesting to me, which is the Good Beer Festival.
yes, that's coming up shortly.
Doug just filmed a promo. I know because I was behind the camera
With Andy.
with Andy Kitchener from the county and
Wycomico County specifically.
oh right from Wycomico County because we actually are broadcasting from Sussex County. I'm sorry. So yeah, a little bit of cleaning up things. If you want to join us, ask questions. You can type them right here in the bottom, and we will see them. We will answer them. If you want to make observations, that's cool too. If they're nasty enough, then we'll read them and then we'll stick out our tongues at you. But it's so Andy Kitchener was here from Wycomico County, which is the sponsor of the beer festival. But I didn't realize that they had to run everything through you before they could make any decisions.
No, not really. But we've set up the last 4 years at the Good Beer Festival to give demonstrations and just show what our products are like and let people taste some homebrew. They've let us do that. They've got us in an area that's off the main area that you can come in and have a sample. But you can't take our beer to the end of the festival or to bring their beer, the tax beer, into our area. But it does allow us to show people what real homebrew tastes like and maybe let them know or decide if they want to pursue a hobby in making beer.
And I wanted to ask you about that because like the first year it was just you and Patty and 2 beers on tap, and now you get like 25% of the whole. I'm going to turn off this light. 25% of the whole land mass. So,
well, we're gonna. I'm not sure exactly. We're trying to have 3 beers there and I believe a cider this year to have people taste.
all right, so that was. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that got a little dark. I think the biggest thing, Andy asked us if there's anything that would be better to make the festival more enjoyable or enlightening for people. And we talked about having different discussions on beer topics, specifically to get the owners or brewers from the local breweries to talk about beer.
Mm-hmm.
And some of it is what we recommended, but most of it is the brewers or owners of the breweries came up with topics that they thought would be interesting, including a food pairing. So we're going to have lots of different discussions. It's going to be in the bulletin or their program, so you can look in the program, decide what you'd like to see over those 2 days or what you'd like to come and listen to. And we're also going to Tony's going to try to record everything and possibly even have live feeds while we're doing that. So I think that's really going to be different than a normal, you might see it at a regular beer tasting or festival. So yes. This, I think, going to add some worth to the, some education to it.
Absolutely, and the educational part is what's important because the one of the things that the brewers are coming to not learn better because it's something they've always known, but something they're really starting to embrace is the idea of the educated consumer is just their best friend.
And not only at the discussions that are scheduled, but the brewers or owners of the breweries are going to be at their booths so they can talk to their customers or potential customers.
And that was something that was cool because I talked to Brian about that before he started. The first year he went, he actually ran out of beer in the first 10 minutes or something, or he didn't get his license in time or something, but he didn't really get to participate. But he always said it was frustrating him when he went to these places and nobody there knew about the beer. And so he always committed to making sure that there was someone at his booth who knew about the beer. And it's been him and his wife. And I know Evo always has someone who knows what's going on back there. I feel like the guys from 16 Mile were there, but I'm not 100% sure.
In fact, Brian helped us before he even had the brewery. One year he stayed Saturday to help with us because we were working at the store Saturday, and
that's cool.
He helped us out on Saturday, and we of course came Sunday.
And now what's difficult is the Great American Beer Festival is going on this week, right?
I think so. It's beginning of October.
Yeah,
but that's in Denver.
Right, and so some people are in Denver, and a lot of the, like, I don't know if Flying Dog can send someone to Salisbury from Baltimore, or the guy from.
But this is in a week and a half, or
right. So
hopefully it'll be over by then.
Oh, last year was the same. Last year was the same week.
Same week, okay.
That's what it was. Last year was the same week because the guy that had the Aussie beer, who makes that? Brewers Craft. The guy from Brewers Craft was there, and he said, "You know what? This is, nobody needs to see me. Nobody needs to see my face in Colorado, but I'm picking up some traction here in Salisbury. This is where I belong." And I thought that was really cool of him to say. So, and Duclaw had a guy there from their brewery. So it's something that's becoming more common. But the local brewers, have signed on to, guarantees is a strong word, but to commit, I think.
Right. Well, Andy said that if you want to be in the locals area, you have to help us out with the discussions. And also, they're going to be judging the homebrew contest. Either the brewers or the owners of the brewery are going to assist with tasting the homebrewers' beers that have been submitted for the contest.
That's awesome. I wonder, do you think that there's going to be? Do you think that they'll reach like the point where they're going to need a spit bucket, or are there going to be that many beers to taste, or do you think that they're not those kind of guys?
I think for the most part they'll be drinking the beer. But I mean, when you're tasting, you only have so much. You can only drink so much. The objective is to evaluate the beer, say good, bad things about it, and how you can improve it. Mm-hmm. But just to judge all the beers and come up with the best beer for the beers that have been submitted.
Right. So anyway, I'm looking forward to that. Like I said, I'll be there. I'll be debuting my book. I won't be debuting my actual book. My book's available on sale on Amazon, which is
pre-order.
Yeah. Which is really just kind of surreal. I'm not. I actually was trying to type. I found out by accident. I have to set up a Google author page, and as I was setting it up, it said, "Well, you can't set it up till you link your book to it. Is this your book?" And I'm like, "Oh my God, it is."
I gotta say yes.
Well, golly. So that was very cool. The picture's not up yet, but they did release the cover, so I'll be annoying the hell out of everybody with the cover on Facebook and Twitter and all that in the coming weeks. But that's not really what I wanted to talk about. What I want to talk about is that I'm going to be there doing the filming, and so please stop by and say hello. One of the things that I was talking about with Andy is we're going to try to get a montage of different people saying, drink good beer, so we can run one of those cut things like fancy smancy, So we're looking.
It should be a good time. Come to it.
Should be a blast. I've been there in the rain. Last year, did it rain last year?
No, it was good last year. I think it was the year before. Well, no, I think Saturday did have some rain.
Right, I went Sunday, and it rained. Let's say the Good Beers Festival started at noon on Sunday. It rained to like 11:58, and then it was beautiful. Yeah. And I had like the whole place to myself. It was really nice. So get out if you can. You can get tickets for about 24 more hours for $25.
Yes, till tomorrow, early subscription tickets.
Right, and then next week they're $35. And it's a bargain at twice the price. It really is. There's always good food, bands,
band plays,
merch
all day long.
We have our friends from the cigar store from Etchart Cigars are always there with their cigars and pipe. They always bring their fancy pipe tobacco, which is cool because I'm a pipe guy. So I try to pick up
some good smelling stuff.
Oh, so good. The one I have is called meat pie, and it smells like a campfire with bacon in it. It's just so smoky and rich, and I always say it's not something you don't smoke it in the spring. You can't. I got a different one to smoke in the spring because it smells like winter and fall and just nice and heavy. So always plenty of fun stuff to do. T-shirts, and the other thing that I don't know if we hit hard enough, but I feel we hit it pretty hard is that you'll be able to sample some home brews, which is brand new this year.
No, we've been doing home brews in the past.
Oh, really?
But Del Mar United Home Brewers
right.
Is going to be there this year with some beers to taste.
Oh, that's what I mean. I'm sorry. I know that you're officially a home brewer, but you're like professional
Home
brewer.
brewer.
Right, yeah. So yes, of course, you guys will always have awesome
Yeah.
things there. Sean said the ginger saison, which I really like. I don't remember what the other one because I stopped listening when I heard
Redbeard
ginger
CPA. He's got his CPA.
Oh, yeah, his
that he
CPA.
came up with.
So that'll be out. But this is the first time that amateur home brewers
Yes.
will be bringing their
Yes.
stuff to taste. And you had a party here a couple weeks ago, actually probably in the summertime. Was it in June?
Yes, well, that was from the recipes
Right,
from the American
big,
Home Brewers. Right, big brew day.
And this was the big brag day.
Yeah.
And there was some awesome
Yeah.
beers here on tap. And I left before Jimmy got here because he always has good stuff.
Yeah.
And before, actually I left right when Ed got here, and Ed had plenty of good stuff. Always good stuff to drink. Lots of fun. So please come out if you can. And if you can't, stay tuned to this channel. If you don't subscribe to our YouTube channel, at least check in at stateofthebeer.com or at Extreme Brewing, and you'll be able to find a link to whether or not we'll be live streaming. And we probably won't know that till Saturday. But once we know whether or not we can, we will, and it'll be awesome.
Yeah, they can't tell us until we're actually there to try it. So
right, we got it.
Hopefully we'll be able to. But at least they'll be recorded, and you get them up.
We will,
at
yes.
a later date if we can't get them on live.
Right. I will have whatever I can get up on Monday or on Tuesday. It won't be polished, but it'll be up. I'm going to be making bumpers and things tomorrow, but that's technical, boring things. So that is a good beer fest, and we check that right off the list. Yesterday I was in Baltimore. Oh, that's why I started to talk about my book. My book is coming out November 11th, and we're going to have a party in Cambridge. I don't know where. I will let you know once we do. And we wanted to make a historic beer. So I was in Baltimore researching different old beers that I thought we might be able to make. I couldn't find any. So I convinced Ed, who's one of the guys who helps out here sometimes, to make one of the Wild Goose beers. So we hope to develop a Wild Goose beer. I'm actually going to call my new friend Alan Pugsley and ask him if he'll just send it to me. I mean, it's free to ask. So, yeah. But the reason I thought that was cool to talk about is because we were when I was there, I was able to get this picture of King Gambrinus.
That's at the American Historical Society, you said.
Correct. This is at the American Historical Society, and King Gambrinus is actually, Doug told me the story, so let him tell you the story.
Well, it's just, I just know Gambrinus is a name that we get malt from, a Gambrinus Malting Works, which is out in British Columbia. And I didn't really realize that there was a King Gambrinus. I didn't associate the two, but I guess that's what they're named after. Yeah,
and this is also named after a brewery that was there, and it was the John Frederick
1800s.
Yes, Wiesner and Sons Brewery, 1879, and that's all that was left in the brewery. So they put it there. And what is very cool about that, and I don't know if anybody appreciates the import, that is one of the first things you see when you go up into the library and display. You come in at the front desk and you can go left into the Maryland room, or you can go right upstairs into the museum part. If you go right, it's at the top of the stairs. It's not even in the museum. It's like at the gateway to the museum. And it's nice to know that beer is still that important to the cultural heritage. Yeah. Well, we didn't talk about it, actually. You wrote about it in your foreword, the importance of beer to the cultural history.
Baltimore was big beer town. I mean, there are a lot of breweries in Baltimore. The American Historical Society, I've never been to where you were talking about. I always went for maritime things, which is in the basement from what I remember, but it's been 30 years since I've been there.
Well, yeah, no, they've expanded it.
Oh, okay.
It was funny because I got lost and I found this little old lady who was sitting in the back room. I'm like, do you know where I can find a librarian? And she laughed and she said, I've been coming here for so long and they keep building out and out and out.
Oh, wow.
So the library is still in the middle, but they keep going out and down and up. But they have this whole section, this glass. It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. Get there if you get a chance. And if you do, make sure you say hi to King Gambrinus for us, because he's impressive with his kooky beard. So in the news this week, a couple of quick news things, and then we're gonna cut it short. The first one was the Beer Pipeline in Bruges. I don't know if you've seen the movie in Bruges. If you haven't, you should, because it's awesome.
That's Bruges, Belgium.
Bruges is in Belgium.
Yeah. It's about 40 miles west of Brussels.
Yes, and the running joke in the movie, there's a gangster who was sent there to hide out, and he said, they're saying go to Bruges, go to Bruges, go to Bruges. I've never even heard of Bruges, and then beat, and it's like it's in Belgium. So, but anyway, so they have at least one brewery there, and you've been.
Yes.
Do you remember anything about it?
Very little. It's just a small brewery, and I think it was still there. I guess there were some grandfathered items in that, or they could do certain things in that brewery they couldn't do in other breweries because of items that were grandfathered in. That's all I remember. I just remember walking up into the loft and seeing where they crushed the grains, and they had a huge beer ship where in a tower where they would cool the beer, and it gets inoculated with all this organisms in the microculture in Belgium. So.
Oh yeah.
But that was 2001 when we were there. But they've got some wonderful beers in Bruges and a huge selection. I don't understand how they have all these beers. They bring you a book out. Now, I think the thing is they may only have 6 or 8 of each one of these beers, but still, it's a huge variety of beer that they have.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, here it's not. Well, it's in some places it's the same. There are these bars that take pride in having 100 beers on tap, and for me, all right, so there are 100 beers on tap. There are probably still 15 or 20 I haven't tried.
Yeah.
Even I mean, because I always try whatever I haven't had before, and it's almost too much. It's too much decision.
Yeah, there most of them were in bottles, but they had 6 or 8 on tap, but lots of just small bottles of beer.
That's great.
But they do it upright. I mean, they bring the glass for that brewery, and a lot of the breweries do fruit, peach, raspberry, and cherry, the typical 3. And the glasses are 3-sided, so they have all 3 fruits on the glass with the name of the brewery, but they set the thing down in front of you with the choice of your beer that you got, and they pour half the glass full and set the beer bottle down in front of you with the label pointed towards you so you can see it. I mean,
that's very cool.
Really do beer up.
I guess I don't go to good enough places, but I had never been to a place where they served you the beer and the glass that went with the brewery. Last weekend I was at this place in Lewis, and that's what they did. Yeah. Whatever you ordered, they had Dale's Pale Ale glasses. I don't know where they got them, but I know they
Dale's Pale Ale.
Yeah, I know. It was just cool.
They're from out in Colorado.
Right, but it was just that's usually you get something in a Sam Adams glass.
Yeah.
Whatever you order, it comes in, or Dogfish Head. I mean, Dogfish Head, they do a good job of getting their glasses out for sure. But this one we ordered. They had an Evo. We had Lucky 7. They had an Evo glass. Yeah. I thought it was classy. I guess that's. I guess the good places are always like that.
But it just takes a little. I mean, that's doing beer right.
Yeah.
I think it doesn't take too much if you got a glass for that brewery, or if you don't have that brewery's glass, hopefully you just get a plain glass.
Right.
But if you get glasses from the brewery, it makes sense to put it in that glass for that brewery.
Right, and I'm not knocking Sam Adams, but remember they had those ball glasses come out a couple years ago, and they gave everybody so many of them that you couldn't get it. You get a Coca-Cola, and it came in one of those Sam Adams glasses because that was they're like, here are 1 million glasses, throw out all the rest of your glassware.
They were unique in the fact that they had laser cut circle on the bottom so that it would cause the effervescence of the beer to come up that very center.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's kind of unique.
So anyway, I guess it was
sidetracked here.
But that's all right. No. That's the point. Is that it's cool that the brewers make an effort to get their glasses there, or that the bar makes an effort to get their hands on those glasses.
But every place we went in Bruges just presented the beer that way.
Right, just classy beer joints.
Right.
And so we don't know how much longer they'll be as classy as they are because they'll be piping their beer out, according to a report this week. According to a report this week, the beer trucks are so many and so heavy that they're crushing the streets. And this is medieval, really a medieval town. Many of the
cobblestone streets.
Yeah, most of the town is the same as it was in the 1500s.
Yes,
right.
It had not been bombed through World War I or II.
So it's why. So these are like people live in. I mean, for me as an American, it's my house is 600 years old. I mean, just mind blowing, right? So to protect the streets, they have a plan to pipe the beer out of the brewery down to a bottling or kegging facility for distribution.
A little further out of town.
Yeah, in a different. It's actually in a different town. Sean was concerned, and I think at least kind of rightly so, about contamination. Do you have any idea how that would? It wasn't in the article, so I didn't know if you had any guesses. What would you do?
Well, you may have to make certain assumptions here, because generally they use stainless steel, very high quality stainless steel. Wherever the joints are, they take extra care to make sure it's smooth and very, very sanitary, because there's no pits or anything. So generally when they do things for beer, they take extra care to make sure it's as sanitary as possible.
The Belgians know what they're
doing. Belgians or possibly the Germans. I mean, a lot of the Germans come over here to do specifically for Dogfish. I know they come over when they have to do expansions and whatever
to help them with that. Oh, I don't know if you saw this in the news, but Stone is opening a brewery in Berlin. Stone.
Oh,
Brewery.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And we'll talk more about that next week. I heard rumors about it, and then I actually saw something about it about 10 minutes before we started. So I don't, but it's official. At first, I was like, "Hey, Stone is thinking," but they are like really getting ready. It might be open even now.
Yeah.
So that's interesting, because one of the themes we've been talking about is the export of the American craft culture and of the American craft beer, and so this is a bit of both. This is pioneering yourself right over.
Not only are they sending it over, they're actually brewing
it there. Yeah.
Wow.
And that's going to take all sorts of cool stuff, like they're going to have to change the water, or they're going to have to deal with the water.
Right.
I'm sure Germany's water is just fine, but they're going to have to deal with the changes.
Well, a lot of breweries will actually take everything out of do whatever they have to do to take all the minerals and everything out of the water, then put back in what they want.
St. Michael's, Eastern Shore Brewery does that in St. Michael's. And they actually change the water profile based on the beer. So they'll put in like a West Coast water profile for their IPA and a Midwest for their amber or whatever they're doing. Yeah. So looking forward to seeing them. I don't know if they'll be at the Good Beer Festival. Do you know if they're on the list?
Don't remember them being there.
But I'm looking forward. I'll be seeing them in the next couple of weeks anyway. But it'll be cool to see them and to try some of their stuff I haven't had in a while. I've been locked away, losing weight and not drinking
beerless.
Yeah, I've been beerless for a while. I just had I don't even like pumpkin ale. I had like 4 of those. I've had 4 tasters of pumpkin ale. Usually Sean says, "Do you want a beer?" And I'm like, "No, I don't." And today I'm like, "You know what? I do. I need it." And he's like, "Pumpkin." I'm like, "All right, I'll have pumpkin." Because I didn't want to get started. Because the other one that's on that, they have a wine on tap out there, or a
strawberry watermelon.
Strawberry watermelon. Yeah, that's not going to happen. But they also had the Dogfish 60-minute is on. 90-minute.
No, the 90 minutes gone now. What else we got on? I don't remember what else we have on. Right
I think it must be the 60-minute. Then. It was a Dogfish, and I'm like, I'm not gonna. I'll be asleep by the time. I'm like, if you haven't had beer in a while, you don't want to start out just because I wouldn't be able to stop. I wouldn't be able to help myself. I haven't had any really good beer. Well, I'm sorry. When I went away this weekend, I had some Dale's Pale Ale. I had Lucky 7, but moving right along. Yeah. So beer pipeline, and now the Gypsy Brewing. If you go to the post that's connected to this, you will see a link to a story about a gypsy brewer. Now, gypsy brewers are guys who rent out space in other people's breweries, brew their own beer, sell their own beer, move along. There's sometimes a little bit of controversy about them. I think it's awesome. I think anytime you're willing to brew your own beer and put it out there and say, "Hey, try this, tell me what you think," it takes courage.
I don't know, maybe just buy an extra space where the brewery doesn't have anybody scheduled to do a beer, and they got space and time,
Right.
and it probably is lower cost. So
Yeah.
and he doesn't have to buy equipment.
Right, and he doesn't have to buy equipment. But
Yeah.
what this guy is doing is he's on a particular mission, and there's a blog about it. So if you want to follow him, I'll be following him, and I'll update you as is necessary. He's actually going to go to different countries. Like he's particularly globetrotting just to do this gypsy brewing in different countries. And so the first story is in Mexico, and he's doing something with like, I'm making it up, but it's like coffee and agave, and just like all the
Locally available.
Right. So it'll be cool to see.
Yeah.
Have you ever considered that, brewing on your own in a big system? Is that something that you would think is cool, or is that not worth your effort?
I don't know. It's just I like the small batches and making different things to just try different beers. See what you come up with. Sometimes the combinations you may come up with don't work, and other times they do.
Right.
Even though you visualize or think how the flavors are going to meld together, some do and some don't.
Yeah, I guess it's if you can choke down 10 gallons of beer,
or even 5 gallons.
Right.
We'll make 5 gallons.
But if you're doing 7 barrels, that's
200 and some gallons. But if you're having everybody taste it, if you're in a brew pub or something,
right,
that's a little different.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I haven't really thought about that. We were quite busy here with what we're doing.
If the world ended tomorrow, like if technology ended tomorrow, just from watching, I could at least, I know how yeast works. Right. Yeah. I know how yeast works, and you're supposed to boil it. I got you right. So I probably
add yeast. You got something.
I could limp my way through a 5-gallon batch. Today, if you locked me in a brewery, and even in a 7-barrel brewery, I'd have no idea what to do. No, I wouldn't have a guess. So you would know how to do it. You just that's awesome.
You just got to figure out. The basics are the same. You just got to figure out how everything.
How much
together.
More? Yeah. There's a note here that says online, and I do not know what that means, so we're going to skip that part. I'm sorry. No, I actually already mentioned that part. My book is online. And the Good Beer Fest and King Gambrinus, and that'll do it for now. If you also want to take a look, actually, I'll show this to Doug because it's obnoxious, and because we have about 2 minutes to kill anyway. There is a video that came out today. Old Chub is one of my favorite beers. And you familiar? Have you had the Old Chub?
I've had Old Chub.
What a good beer, right? And one of the things that they have done at Old Chub is made a commercial. They put Old Chub on Nitro. And as part of the Old Chub Nitro, they made this commercial. It's a 30-second commercial. They put cans of Nitro in the Nitro in the Nitro cannon, and this is the result. All right, and this has got music, so it's going to be loud. Okay, so some would say that's the waste of a perfectly good can of Nitro, and they would be right. But if you're going to waste beer, that is a really interesting way to do it. I'm for that. I would play with that all day. I'd empty the cans and fill them with water. That's what I would do. Because I got
waste of good beer.
Yeah, it is. One of the person that sent it to me said, "Is anybody who's in charge of the marketing people? Is anybody babysitting that? How did they get away with that?" But that's all for now. We've got the 25th is your next class. We got classes.
Yeah, you have to look at the website.
I believe October 25th is the next class.
Right.
And there are more after that, so please check extremebrewing.com under everything else, under classes.
Or if you got a group of 4 or more, we'll be glad to put a special class together for you.
And that's something that I think would be like a cool. I mean, I don't want to. I don't want to put you in this roller skating rink business, but like, you know, for your 40th birthday or your 50th birthday, you know, 10 of you come. 10's too many, isn't it? 5 of you come. And,
we can get 10 in here.
Then you brew a beer. Yeah. I think that'd be a good way to kill an afternoon. Don't bring your roller skates.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's time at the bar, gentlemen, and we will see you next week.
Thanks, Tony.
All right.